Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oladele Ayorinde. I'm happy to welcome you to the Organ House Concert and Seminar Series today. As usual, I'm happy to welcome you, and also for those joining us for the first time, this is the Organ House Concert and Seminar Series. This initiative focuses on music and conversations around music, particularly like what we are having today. In other words, we explore music in its creative sense, artistic sense, performances, documentation, scholarship, music education, as well as discourses around curatorial practice. I mean, concert organization, concert hosting, as well as issues, uh, particularly those that centers around the role of music in our everyday life. I mean, Nigeria and broadly speaking, post-colonial Africa and African diaspora. So the initiative has sub-layers. As you all know, we just finished an international symposium that explores the concept of African art music. For those who joined last week, thank you so much for being part of that historical gathering. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Today, the focus is quite unique, and you know the reason for that. So the focus for today is more or less of let's say it is not okay. Let me put it this way. Let me say what it is. It is a celebratory gathering, yet a critical one that aims to recenter the phenomenon of Mrs. Marion Akpata within the context of development, particularly music and creative art development in Nigeria, Africa, and our role also within the global context as the common level, Black women doing great things within the African or global African discourse. So this is the focus of today. And specifically, we are spotlighting those issues, those details, those initiatives that actually underpin or underlies our role, our agency as someone who initiated, nurtured, and impacted uh, generations, people, artists, and a society as a whole. You know what I mean? Of course, that is the focus for today, and that's what we are focusing on. That's what we are discussing. So, Mama Akpata, as we call her, has impacted not only on how will I put it now, a demography that is located within Nigeria. Our impact cut across demographies, geographies, spaces, places, gender, nationalities, and bringing diverse people together, ideologies. That is who she was, and that's the context within which we are engaging art today. And in doing so, we have been able to spotlight, people who, in one way or the other, can help champion this conversation, resituating her within, our value, uh, you know, our value, influences, and contribution, particularly to the Nigerian uh, process. I mean, our role in the transformative process of Nigeria, the phenomenon called Nigeria. So we have, according to the plan for today, we have 5 people who are going to help us lead the conversation for the next 40 to 50 minutes. And after that, we are going to open for, discussion, Q&A. And when I mean that, this is a space, as mentioned to all of us, it is a celebratory mode. Yeah, Mama Akpata was 86 years. She was a mother, a grandmother for that matter. So, and many of us are part of this genealogy, ideological genealogy. We are part of our influences. So we are we are gathering in this particular space to do that exact thing, which is celebratory. And doing so, we are also recontextualizing our position within the global discourse, particularly the roles of women in our society, The question is, what can the case or story of Marion Akpata mean, or how can we redirect it to inspire younger women in Nigeria, across Africa, and across the global African diaspora? So that is the focus. That's the question for today. So I am going to then, yes, we have people that we have invited. I'm going to invite them just to introduce themselves, briefly. Then we'll go into the major conversation. So I have many of them here. Of course, they are common. They belong to the bigger, the elaborate, and the influential MUSON family. I mean, the MUSON Diploma School. And I'm so happy also to be part of this, family. But before that, I just like to quickly, it's a community session. It's a community session, it's a family conversation in quotes, and it's also a kind of homecoming for many people. But to do that, I want to wear the cap, many caps today. I'm going to wear the cap of a scholar on the one hand, the cap of MUSON alumni on the second hand, and the cap of a host of a conversation like this on the third hand, and also the cap of a member of the MUSON alumni. So from the last cap, I want to quickly make known that on this platform today, we have the president of the Association of MUSON alumni, the current president, which is Mr. Sunday Okpo. Mr. Sunday Okpo, how are you today? Okay, we'll come back to that. Perhaps during the Q&A, we are going to have conversation with Mr. Sunday also during the Q&A session. So for now, I am going to invite our lead discussant for
Hello,
today.
sir. I'm doing very well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So everyone, Mr. Sunday is the current president of the MUSON Alumni Association. So we are so happy to have you here. And of course, the MUSON family today. Thank you so much. Don't forget, everyone, today is a tribute mode. We are in the tribute mode and celebratory mode, because not only because Mama passed on, but also we are celebrating her influence. Don't forget that. Yeah. So let me invite just a very short introduction. Tell us who you are, and we'll take it from there. Make it briefly. So let me quickly go through the process and see who and okay, we have Mr. Let's start from yeah, we have Mr. Dayo Adeniji. Mr. Dayo Adeniji, how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm great. Dr.
Thank you so much.
AY.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, of course, we get to know more of Mr. Adeniji in this conversation. Then we also have, of course, Fatima, Mrs. Fatima Ifaturoti, who is also part of this family. She's also going to lead part of this conversation today. Hello, Mrs. Faturoti. How are you, ma'am?
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Then we have, I hope, I saw Tosin Phebean not too long. Where's she?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm still here.
Okay, okay. How are you today, Phebean?
I'm good, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Then do we have Mr. Ajayi around? Mr. Ajayi, are you there? Okay, perhaps he's still getting is on his way to join us. Then do we have Mr. SK Oretimehin? Mr. Oretimehin, are you there? Okay, while we wait for these two people, let's start the conversation, because we have a lot to discuss today. Like I said earlier, it's a celebratory mood, and I'm sure many people have a lot to say regarding Mama Akpata's, deep influence in the Nigerian musical and creative art landscape. Okay, let's continue. So we have Tosin, Phebean, we have Mr. Adeniji, Dayo Adeniji, and we have Ms. Ifaturoti. Yeah. So I am going to, let's just more like a plan. So it's going to be a kind of cyclic movement. So we can move from one person to the other, and we can do up to 3 rounds of that, in terms of how we arrange the conversation. The idea is simply to make sure we have a balance. We have a balance in terms of a kind of information we are going to give, in the kind of conversation we are going to have. But one generally for our lead, discussant today, let's make it brief, at least. So we plan the next 45 minutes for this particular session, so we can have more time for the entire body community to have, conversation also. Please, friends, perhaps you are closer to Mr. Ajayi or Mr. Oretimehin. Kindly reach out to them while we set the agenda rolling. So, okay, I'm going to start from the first person. Let's start from this way. Okay, let's do a general one first of all. I think that's better. Let's do in 2 to 3 sentences. How would you, describe Mrs. Marion Akpata? That would be the first general question. Then we'll now take the turn as planned earlier. So, Mr. Dayo, how will you describe Ms. Akpata? Ms. Phebean, how will you describe Ms. Akpata and Ms. Ifaturoti? I mean, in 2 to 3 sentences. How will you do that? So, who wants to go first? Who is it first? Please, you can just unmute yourself and let's move into discuss.
Okay, good afternoon once again. This is Phebean. So for me, I don't think we need. I don't think I would use a whole lot of words to describe her. But one thing that strikes me is the word unlimited. Though I met her as a music teacher, but her approach, demeanor, and generally speaking, she tells you not to limit yourself to what you're here for. And that's like what is so reflective in my life right now. So I just want to choose the word unlimited to describe our impact in my own life. You could start from somewhere, but you should think beyond that place. You should think bigger, you should think more, just more. You know, they say sky's the limit, but I don't think there's a limit in our own world. It's just keep opening your world to something bigger. And that's it for me.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Of course, we are still going to dig into that bigger influence and impacts broadly. We are still going to dig it, but thank you so much. Now, the next person. Okay, why before the next person, I think we have Mr. AY Director Maestro Ajayi. So, welcome to the conversation, Mr. Ajayi. We've had a lot of conversation before now. So the question for everyone is, in 2-3 sentences, how will you describe Mrs. Marion Akpata? So that's the first person. So let's move to Ms. Ifaturoti.
My apologies. I didn't realize that I was unmuted while I was trying to reach Ayo. One way I would describe Mrs. late Marion Akpata is I'll just go local. I would describe her as, something we call a mother hen. A mother hen would protect her chicks. It would, or she would eat, or she would gather them together. So she was always ensuring that we're together, like protecting us, nurturing us, even as far as providing for her students, for everyone around her. She is a gatherer. And this was quite evident in every aspect of her life. She would, ensure that there's a community at every point in time. I can't emphasize how much she was influential to the creation of the MUSON alumni and all of her contributions to it while she was alive. So everywhere she goes, every point in time, she is just making sure that there is a community of musicians. It's always, preaching always preaching the gospel of music. Come together, do something, do something, do something. I think that's one way I would describe her.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, of course, we're still coming back to that. Let's move to the next person on the Mr. Dayo Adeniji.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Dayo Adeniji. One of our pioneer students, that is the first set. Well, the way I'm going to describe Mama is I would describe her as a woman with a very big dream, in which he has a perfect plan on how to execute her dreams. And as well, her persistence. Then as a result of all this, he actually actualized those dreams. And that is just the way I would describe Mama.
Wow, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah, thank you. There's a suggestion that every one of us should turn our videos when it's our turn. Yes, I
Okay.
think I agree with that, please. Okay, so let's move. We have AY director. We have Mr. Ajayi. Mr. Ajayi, welcome to the conversation today. I think I see Omokabiesi. Mr. Oretimehin, is that you? Kabiesi Studios. Is that Mr. Oretimehin? Is that you? Okay, let's have Mr. Ajayi. How will you describe Ms. Marion Akpata in 1 to 2 sentences?
Good afternoon, everyone. I really apologize for coming in late today. I have to do some school runs. So basically, Mrs. Marion Akpata, I would say that Mrs. Marion is a revolutionary. And then there's a reason why I said so. You see, she has a dream. She has something that drives her. And then when she came into MUSON, some of us have been at MUSON, of course, for many years before she came in. But when she came into MUSON, the drive was different. She wanted something different. She has a plan. It was cut out. And then she was able to follow it through. So she's a revolutionary. And then you could see the impact of whatever she has done at MUSON. You could see it in the scene, in the musical scene right now. Some of us who've been around, you would agree with me that music in Lagos and Nigeria has not always been this way before the advent of the MUSON Diploma School. So Mrs. Akpata is a revolutionary. And then one thing also is that by the time when you're going into Mrs. Akpata's office, one of the inscriptions that you would see is impossible is nothing or something like that. Mrs. Akpata is unstoppable. Nothing can stop her. When she wants to achieve a dream, she goes all out to get it. So let me stop here for now. I know that a lot of other people have said so many things about Mrs. Akpata. Thank you, Dr. Ayo.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Omokabiesi, are you set for us? I think I need to confirm. Mr. Oretimehin, is that you?
Yes, it's me. I'm here. I'm in a kind of restaurant. That's why. It's
No
me.
problem. Good, you're welcome. So we are just taking a general, to start the conversation, we are going a general pattern. How will you describe Ms. Marion Akpata with 1 or 2 sentences to start the conversation?
All right. So Mrs. Akpata is just selfless, human, goal driven, and no nonsense human being. Like after my mother, she's the next before anybody in my life. Because I remember when we started, I heard when my colleague there and my president, Mr. Ajayi, when they spoke about the first and how we started. When we started the program, no sponsorship, nothing. We had to pay like 300,000 naira for the program as a remedial. And then I remember like 8 of us were with the board of trustees when they asked that they had no money to import teachers of that caliber, to teach in the conservatory. We need teachers, international teachers. And she pointed at us, myself, Funke, one day, and Eden was there, Kurede. And she said, these people, you train the kind of teachers that you said you want. And they were laughing. I remember they laughed. She said, no, let's start. That was 2005. Let's start. It's 20 years now. Let's start. Let them apply. Nobody apply. That woman, God just sent her into our life because there is virtually no universities, no music institutions in Nigeria, and you don't find her projects. That woman is the only human being alive. And now that she's gone, I can only hope that some of us can emulate her selflessness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oretimehin. Yes, before your arrival, we actually say something about your last point. So, like I mentioned earlier, I just need to say it again for those who are just joining the conversation. Mama Akpata was everything that we've had today, but most importantly, she had a dream, and I think she actually accomplished the dream. And for that reason, we are celebrating today. And that celebration also has a critical perspective, particularly within the context of all of us, is the fact that she represents something. What a woman, a Black woman, because our own status is quite interesting. She's an African American who came to Nigeria and championed a particular cause. That cause, I am part of that cause. All of you, many of us on this platform, are product of that cause. So because of that, this conversation is also becoming a space, a critical conversation showing how younger women can also aspire. She's now becoming a case, a theory, a particular phenomenon through which younger people can draw inspiration. Like what one of us said, impossibility has no space. I agree with that. She said that many times to many people in that office, you see, and that is why it's important for us to approach Amakpata's narrative in that sense, to encourage more women in our climb. So let's start the conversation. I'm going to go to Mr. Dayo Adeniji right away. Sir, you are one of the first 3 piano students of Miss Marion Akpata at the beginning of the MUSON Diploma program. At that time, in 2007, you also focused and wrote your BA degrees research on R. That's quite interesting. My question then to you is, what was it like to be Miss Akpata's piano student in 2007/2008? I mean, the first set of the diploma program. What was it like?
Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Hayo. Well, that is a very big question, but I will try as much as possible to summarize, and because of our time. Once again, my name is Dayo Adeniji. One of the first students at the first set in the year 2020 and 2006-2007 section. Yes, what was it like to be a piano student at that time? In fact, the first thing that I have in mind is it was a big opportunity. Opportunity in the sense that if we can recall vividly at MUSON centers, we have few expatriate piano teachers at MUSON center, in which people like us, we might not have an opportunity to be a student under them. Not because of any other thing, but because the students are too many. And as a result of that, they have to pick. Then in the course of picking, it's not that they are picking biasly. You must have gotten to a kind level of proficiency before you just going to be admitted by any of those few. I can just mention few like Maria Sivad, Edna Shoyo, Mama. Before you can be a student with at that level, when I'm talking about the higher grade from grade 6, 7, and 8, you must have gotten to some at least, and then probably somebody must introduce you to them. So in which people like us doesn't have assets. So when she came, it was a big opportunity for us because that's number one. Number two, most of these people we are talking about, the expatriate, they don't have the time to start teaching from the scratch. You cannot just go to meet Maria Silva that you want to learn piano and you don't have any. She doesn't have that time. So people like us might not, because we struggle on our own. Maybe we just start from few of the people we see, the elderly people, we tap some knowledge. So when she comes, he saw that these are full potential and exposed music students. He saw that in us, but with a bad techniques. And he was willing to try as much as possible to bail us out from that misery. So that was the first thing. It was an opportunity, a very big opportunity, to have somebody like her. Because I would remember vividly, we need to unlearn everything for someone that have done grade 8 piano without any serious expatriate teacher. Now to now come and do diploma, with all the wrong techniques and some other things, we have to unlearn and then relearn again. So as a result of that opportunity, we become, I want to use this word, it's headache to have in both parties, because one, it needs to make sure to find a way to learn what we've learned in the first place. So, and we took a lot of time, energy, and strength to learn something, they now ask us to put it in the trash and relearn again. It's also a headache as well. So, and as a matter of fact, we becomes experiments, because, and actually this our set, that first set is an experimental set, because they use us to learn both party. We learn a lot from her and they learn from us what's the implication of having a wrong foundation when it comes to anything that has to do with practical. So that is one. And so it leads me to the second point, which is we find it difficult. We find it difficult to unlearn, and he was not going to take no for an answer. So it gave us so many reasons, and it proved it to us that the techniques that we are using is not that right. So those are the fields we have with him. And thirdly, yes, from her, we learned how to be consistent and persistent. If you see majority of self-learned musicians, or that have just few teachers or few people that can just put such persons through, you discover that patience, and we've still this in so many music students. Patience is something that is very, 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 very expensive. And when it comes to music, we should have that in abundance, so that we can have the right foundation and then we can grow on it. So from her, those are the major three things that I think we really achieved that we couldn't get from all the efforts or all our struggling, but we are able to get that expatriate information from her. So we really thank God for her advent, because otherwise, maybe somebody like me will not even have hope to have passed through any expatriate. Somebody that an American person, expatriate, a pianist, a general musician, you might not have access to that kind of person if she wasn't at that moment, because in fact, our coming at that moment was a very, very, very profitable for majority of us. In fact, all of us. So maybe let me just stop there for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dayo Adeniji. Thank you so much. I agree with you. It was indeed, like you mentioned, a rare opportunity and a privilege, an opportunity that has become a privilege for many people. Thank you so much. Yes, quickly, let me move to the next person. Mr. Kenny Oretimehin. Okay. Sir, you work closely with Ms. Marion Akpata in many ways. How will you describe her in terms of her leadership and administrative skills?
So one of the first qualities of leadership and administrative skills I learned from her is discipline, fairness, and punctuality. When I have my rehearsals, you can never come earlier than me, even if you are the owner of the show. You can never come earlier than Ms. Marion Akpata. She's already there with her husband. All of us benefited. She's already punctual and she's fair. This is a woman who will tell you, oh, how about you? Oh, I like what you sang, but you didn't pass. You know, fair, she's your friend. But you didn't pass. You know, integrity. So, and then she plans ahead and she makes sure that she is safe for everything. She's always on her system, always on her computer, asking us one or two questions. She's down to earth, she's humble. It was during her 80th birthday that people got to know that she had PhD. She's a doctor, you know, doctorate. She's humble, humility, and she's fair, integrity. Believes in everybody. She's not all over the place. She's calm, firm. You know, maybe after God, she's just there in the word of her own. She's special. You know, like I said, never discriminating. She doesn't have time for this stuff. Good straight to the point, direct. You know, and she believes everybody can do everything if you put your mind at it. I remember when they brought about 55 pianos from the Japanese embassy or Japanese German. Before she told us now there are pianos everywhere, no more talking. Sit down the piano and practice. And then I could not even pass the name. Now I can play the 7 by myself. You know, that's who she is. When it comes to administration, she carries everybody along. She asks questions for their opinion. She doesn't force her opinions on people. You know, there's nothing secretive about her. Everything is open, free and fair. Very, very human. You know, everything is it's not big deal for her. You just do your job. She believes in it, work for it, and you go to achieve it. You know, the woman is one in a million. I miss her. I miss her. I miss her. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's move to Phebean. You were part of the Girls Root Jazz Band. You know, there
Sorry, excuse
was
me.
and still is an understanding that Mrs. Akpata named that band. Could you tell us briefly how that happened and what that means to you and the band members at the time, even till today?
Okay, good afternoon once again, everyone. Yes, you're right. She named the band, and I could say that personally speaking, the joining that band or playing in that band is something that I can't ignore right now in my life, and I don't think I would ever lose that privilege that I got from playing in the band. And the fact that not everybody in the band was from MUSON tells a whole lot about how open-minded he, he was. There was Chi Nazo, who's been playing piano, who's actually a friend of those of us that were in Muson. But she was like, oh yeah, she can play. So she didn't look at the fact that, oh, this is not a Muson person. She just saw the fact that this lady plays music and she would be willing to support as much as possible, which tells that Mr. Pata didn't really see colors. She didn't see where you're coming from. She just saw what you are and what you can get to. And there was what's her name? Mata plays the guitar. Same story. Mata never studied music, but she welcomed her. And then there was Top Sticks, who was not even a Muslim person. I think the influence of the band was what made Top Sticks decided to put in for the program at the MUSON Diploma. So, and then for the name Girls Rule, it's as clear as what it means. She just wants everyone to make an impact. She just wants, the idea of, yeah, I wouldn't say girls should rule really, but it's just a way of saying that everybody can be something, anybody can rule. Music is not just for men. Women are there and you're doing something great. Speaking personally, the first time I applied to MUSON, I didn't get in the first year, but the way she would react to it was more like, you know what, you didn't get in now doesn't mean you were not good enough. Just try again. And I tried the second time, and that was it. I'm just trying to imagine if I actually just gave up and tried something else. I don't think I'll be where I am today. So her mindset, she was not discriminatory at all. Music was that unifying factor, but it didn't end in music. It's a way of life, impact, the way she leads by example, the way she talks, the way she'd address you, the way she would correct you. Is no way saying you are not something. It's saying, you know what, you can just do better than what you do, you know? So I would just say that impact is something we cannot ignore. It's in everybody that has touched her, even those that didn't really have a direct a direct meeting with her. Perhaps you met somebody who knows her or who knew her, obviously.
Oh, thank you so much, Phebean. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So let's move to Miss Ifaturoti. Okay, let me just call her. Let's travel back. We know her as, Fatima. So I'm going to
Just Fatima is fine.
yes, that's it. I'm going to stick to that. Of course, I don't mean to disrespect. I just want to take
No,
us back
it's
to that
not
context.
disrespect, please.
Yeah. So Fatima, you are a musician, performer, educator, and a scholar. Looking at Ms. Akpata's achievement, what can current music and cultural institutions learn from our approach to education and leadership in Nigeria, particularly in Africa?
So that's a very good question, given that I personally developed strong interest in teaching solely because of Mrs. Akpata's influence. With her support, with her guidance, I learned so much about music education that Ray Alpha. So much so that I'm still able to take to pick a lot from her legacy and apply that to my work today. Number one thing I know about her is she holds very high expectation of her students. Everyone can attest to that. She holds us to high standards. She has high expectations of every single one of us. No one is left out. No one is more important than the other person. She would, in any way that she can. She has personal relationship with everyone. Personal. If every one of us were to come and start talking about her impact on us, we wouldn't have time. But you would realize that she has influenced everyone individually in their individual ways, no matter where you are, who you are. So with those standards that she holds of us, she always makes sure that she creates opportunities that would help you explore those expectations that she has of you. She's not just holding standards for the sake of it, but she'll give you an opportunity to explore. She'll give you an opportunity to prove yourself in that, even in that little space that you are. So that for me is something that individuals should still carry with them. Those who have had personal relationship with her should carry with them. Institutions across Nigeria should carry with, should teach and learn. I wish the institutions you're talking about would hear this message. But that is what Mrs. Akpata is. She would create avenues for you. She would put you in a, not necessarily on a pedestal, but she'll give you opportunities that would test you, that would test your musicianship, your skills, and not because she thinks you are not able to do that thing at that moment, but because she knows that you can, and the way she would encourage you, the way she would support you towards that goal. It's just really, really, really encouraging. And so institutions should really emulate some of these things. That is something I know for sure it's really, really lacking among institutions in Nigeria. We ignore the fact that our students need opportunities. She would organize master classes. She would organize international trips. She would invite people from experts to come in to. It's just things that we're so not used to. But I learned so much from her, such that those are things that I try to personally on my own imbibe in my students. Even though I'm here in the US, learning from her. I'm back here where she started from, and I just find it so easy to still do those things that she does. Not everyone, to tell you the truth, even here in the US where I am, not everyone has that knows to do such for their students, to hold high expectations of their students. They still teach you, they still tell you to do those things, but I didn't have to learn them, because those are things that I got from her. Those are things that I already was used to from just watching her, from being part of this wonderful community. So there's really just so much to say about her. I'm actually just getting emotional thinking about thinking about her death, and I'm sorry, I'm just incoherent at the moment, but yeah, that's the much that I can say.
Thank you so much, Fatima. Thank you. Of course, we understand. And again, don't forget, now we are celebrating her. She did all that because, and all of us, in one way or the other, we embodied that reality of her. So in essence, we are celebrating her. So don't worry, all of us will be fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's gone now.
Absolutely.
She has played her own part of the deal. So like you mentioned, I hope the institutions will be there, and even if they are not here, whatever she stood for, all of us are definitely going to push forward and make sure that legacy lives. Yeah. So this time we are going to go back to the round again. Okay, let's go for Mr. Ajayi. Yeah. Sir, where will you place Ms. Akpata in the broader narrative of Nigerian music education history? I think this is just what Fatima just explained: institutions, people, continuity, and history. So the question for you, sir, is where will you place Ms. Akpata in the broader narrative of Nigerian music education history?
Thank you very much, sir. So for me, you say there are people who are builders. And then I know that the society really thinks about people who sit at the top. But there are some people, for example, here in the UK and in the US, the basic education is very important. When you go to primary schools and secondary schools, you see a lot of musical activities. You see a lot of professional teachers teaching the right way, and then we used to have it in Nigeria as well. And then I'm taking this back to Mrs. Akpata being a teacher at Queen's College, and then because I've met a lot of our students. And then one thing that Mrs. Akpata always says is that I am teaching you music not because you must be a musician. I'm teaching you music so that you can be a leader, and then you can correct the ills of Nigeria. So I think that Mrs. Akpata is one of those very giants, like I like to say, colossus, who use music as a tool, music education as a tool to build leaders. I know a lot of us. I know what we are doing right now, and then what it was for us back then. So, in terms of the Nigerian music education, Mrs. Akpata is one person who has actually built leaders, who was purposefully built leaders. She was intentional. She was deliberate about the leadership roles that she wants people to take on. She Aside teaching music, like I said, our intention was, okay, let's use music to create an healthy society. Let's use music to create an healthy society. So I've met a lot of our students who are not even musicians right now, who are pharmacists, doctors, and all that. But the music still lives in them. It is because of who Mrs. Akpata was. One thing that you must not take away from her is that she knows the subject matter. She understands the music, and she plays the piano. Yes, she plays the piano. Most of the pieces that I played, Mrs. Akpata single-handedly and did discourse to me and say, Ayo, I want you to play Un Sospiro, you can play it. Go and start learning. So in terms of music education in Nigeria, Mrs. Akpata, despite that she started from the basic education sector, which really is like the foundation for if you want to build anything, like my former Oga used to say, you have to catch people young when they are still tabula rasa, like when they are still a clean plate. And that's what Ms. Akpata have done over the years, even before coming to MUSON. So she has built leadership in people. And you see, what she has done is something that is long lasting. It's a legacy that we have continued to feel the impact till today. So in terms of music in Nigeria and elsewhere, Mrs. Akpata is a leader. She's a colossus. She's a giant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ajayi. Thank you. So we are going one more round, but before that, I would like to acknowledge. Don't forget, it's homecoming session for all of us. I'm sure those who belong to that community or extended family of the MUSON Diploma School. So today, again, we have one of the icons that work together with Mama. I'm talking about Chief Maria Asiva. Hello, Chief Maria. How are you today? Hello, Maria. I think the audio has issue, so you need to fix it. I will call you towards the end or Q&A session. Definitely, you have. I will call you again. Don't worry. Yeah, I think there's issue with the audio. There's issue with the audio. Thank you so much, Maria. Yeah, Maria was one of those pillar, at MUSON, and the influence of these people, this generation, still rings, in terms of value and influence on many of us. Thank you so much, Maria. Also, I will call you shortly. So let's go back to the round again. I'm going back to. Okay, I am going back to Mr. Dayo Adeniji. So, Mr. Adeniji, you had a series of interviews through your research, of course. Perhaps people might not know. Mr. Adeniji wrote about Miss Marion Akpata in 2007, I think, when he was writing his bachelor's thesis. And he had a lot of time with Mr. Akpata, interviews, personal conversation. Also, he was also the student or a student of Ms. Akpata at the time. So based on this is very important for today's conversation, and also to talk about Mrs. Akpata today. So the question now is that you had a series of interviews with Ms. Akpata for your research. Can you share important things from your work that you think people need to know about her? Perhaps those conversations you had, things that perhaps has not been unveiled out there, but are there in your work. Can you share at least 3 of them with us?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Hayo. First of all, I have like about 16 pages in that chapter, which is the chapter 4 of that research. And it's just titled The Making and the Contribution of Art Music in Nigeria, a Case of Study, Marion Akpata. I don't know what prompted me to that, choosing her at that moment, because I was just trying to see what can I do. But fortunately, I think our diploma classes has been within the first and second semester in that the first second year, I think the second year. So I don't know. Spirit just led me and I talked to her and I said, Mama, I want to use it as a case of study for my degree project. And so that you go ahead. At that moment, it required me to have a one-on-one conversation and as well to record our voice when I'm having that conversation, because we are still need to present the tapes as well. So, but recently when I'm going through all the tributes that I see on social media, I saw the one my colleagues and the brother Ajayi put down. In fact, when I saw this, it was when I saw her tribute. That is when I should have this thing somewhere. And I'll try to see, and I'll compare and discover that, in fact, 99.9% of everything I have there is exactly what Mr. Ajayi has put down in a summary. But what I have here is an elaborate. But there are 1 or 2 things that I will just have to point out. So we all know, Mama, in my project, everything I want to say is according to what I put down and what I was able to get from her. So we all know Mama was passionate. Mama is ambitious, and Mama doesn't procrastinate. But I'll just point out 1 or 2 things out of those, so that to know the level of how much, how high, what is the percentage of those things. So I will put us back in what I put down in my project. According to her, in 1966, to show her level of her passion. That was when he was in Nigerian, precisely at the north. We call that place in Baruku. Yes, it says Baruku, according to what I put down here.
Bukuru.
Okay, thank you so much. It's Bukuru.
She was in Bukuru Jos.
Okay, Bukuru Jos. Then at that moment, I think there was a civil war. So you can see the level of which someone has passion and it doesn't want anything to, to disturb or to intricate that dream. It really nothing will disturb that. Despite all the civil wars happening at that moment, I wasn't there, but you can see it still go ahead impacting knowledge to people, students. So you can that is the level of the level of
commitment,
passion is very, very high. It's very, very high. Then in 1968, I was able to get something there when he went back to New York, according to what I put down here. Went back to New York, to show the level of diligence, the level of diligence and proficiency. He was one of the 20 music teachers that was recognized at that point in time. Let me just read that portion out. He was selected by the New York State Board of Regents for a specially course and field trip and introduced as one of the 20 music teachers for that particular at that particular time. So we can see that it is the man that it was the woman that really has a very big dream. On the course of that dream, he tried to find a way to actualize it, and he put an effort, and he was committed to it. He was committed to it. Now you can see from our music career started. From this is another paragraph, please. I've just put in an abstract. His musical career started in the New York, in which it made to travel to different countries. So from New York, when he was born, and back to Nigeria, then go back to New York again, back to Swaziland, then to Ghana, then back to Nigeria. And all this traveling is not just because, from what I put down here, it's not just because he likes to travel. There are serious reasons for her to go. Maybe the family, or there are some other serious things. But even as she was moving from one place to another, she didn't reduce the standard. From what I put down there, the standard is all the same, and it's just forging ahead. So that is a kind of person, and Mama was. So finally, one thing I see that I can still take out from my project is that it's very difficult, but I don't know how she did it, but just because of being passion and map out the strategy and focus and doesn't allow anything to change. That's what he wants to do. He was able to balance the career, this dream, and every other thing, and with the families and love life. Despite the fact that he's moved from one place to another, it doesn't affect that mission. He was just make sure that focus wherever she was. So I think it's one of the things that we all need to emulate, because in this part of this world, in Africa, we like to give excuses. We give excuses, but we can see what the woman has done with her career as a result of having a big dream, actualize that dream, and then with a lot of consistent effort. And eventually, he was able to give back to the society, because that is why we are here talking about it, because we get a lot from his knowledge. So I think those are the things I can just point out. I'm still going to try and publish these 16 pages. And if there's anyone that needs to know more, we'll be very glad to just scan and send to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What I can deduce, and particularly my very introductory understanding of your work, is that one of what you just said is that the relationship between dream, mobility, and commitment. Of course, like you said, many people give excuse. Oh, because I don't live in that place anymore, I can't do this thing anymore. Because I'm not living to a small community where there's no facility, I can't do this anymore. From what you said and from what Mr. Ajayi wrote, what we can see is commitment to that one vision. Irrespective of wherever she went, she was committed and she was practicing that vision. And it is so obvious, of course, we can see that. So there's a story, there's a line, there's a lesson for everyone, particularly for the young women around. Wherever we go, the dream can still thrive if you really care to hold on to that dream and make it work for yourself and for everyone. So, as we mentioned, Mama Akpata is a case to understand many things, particularly for young women in our society today. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeniji. I'm looking forward to that work as when you publish it. So let's move to the next person quickly on this round. Let's go to Mr. Kenny Oretimehin. Sir, there were a series of international connections and dialogues when Ms. Akpata was the director of school and program at MUSON. This includes the concerts and guest visits like the Japan Embassy concerts, American cultural exchanges, and the Italian Embassy concert. I remember clearly our own Fatima was well featured in those series. And of course, and the Standard Bank South African Embassy concert series. I remember Shells was one of those who came to Nigeria those nights. I will never forget that jazz concert. So we were all part of these things, and we were privileged to see she brought everybody to MUSON. She directed the international community to MUSON. So my question for you is this: can you share a moment where our leadership profoundly impacted the institution and its directions?
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I remember, like I said earlier on, then in 2006 or thereabout, when the Japanese embassy came, and then we had to learn the Japanese anthem, and they remember me because they were in partnership with MUSON or with Ms. Akpata and the school. So not so long after the concert, that we saw containers and they loaded about 55 pianos, grand pianos and upright pianos. One thing I learned from Ms. Akpata is that while she was teaching in Queen's College and all those schools in Niger Delta and in Lagos State, she was firm and she taught students regardless of their backgrounds, such that when they became ambassadors and company owners and CEOs, it was just a call across to them and they were willing to give her anything. And now when she put up a call across to then Senator Yab, I also spoke with her because she said, okay, let me talk to one of the students. Oh, they're here, and she knows how to teach. She knows how to say whatever she wants. So one of them is saying, Oretimehin, please come sing, and I sang on phone to Yabo Basanjo. And then maybe she donated like 30 million or thereabouts for some trip to China or whatever. I can't remember. I think it was China trip then. Because we registered for that trip in 2008. And I remember when the US consulate used to come to MUSON before the Diploma School started. They would just come, they just gather themselves and some of their children. But when Akpata came, she insisted that the students should start performing. They should bring their jazz band to MUSON for performances and master classes. And then because she's an American, she always use her profile, to reach out to the branches or the headquarters in the US. She's always sending mails to companies. And I remember when Genovia had something to do at Ajayi, she sent him to him. And when the man came into our office and they discussed, and Genovia gave us some checks. I also remember BT Bank, Stanbic BTC, and they released the fund list. Because she knows that in this part of the world, the young people are enthusiastic, the young people are capable, but the finances are always the restrictions. So what she does, or what she did, was to stand in the gap to make sure that the funds are available, and then we choose in our own little corner and make sure that our efforts are not in vain. Because people that went to China, they did well. People that did the virus, they did well. MSM left Nigeria in the early 90s or thereabout. And then we used to go in our thousands to Ghana to do MSM exam because MSM used to register at least 2,000 people then. And Mr. Akpata stopped and forced the British to come back to Nigeria because they insisted that they were not ready to come to Nigeria. I didn't know she planned with some other starters and other partners like Educator. So back to Nigeria. And everybody started giving scholarships, Mr. Akpata understands how it works. And she was ready to make sure that our activity is done. I remember before she resigned, she invited me to her house and she analyzed how she had planned with Marion Akpata to build 22-story buildings in MUSON Center. We started raising funds with her husband, such that at least 5 of those stories will belong to movement. One will be like the school, one will be like the hostel, one will be like the source of income to movement. One will be all, and other will be for whatever. So we have everything planned for 3 years. Contacted meetings for meetings, and she invited some of us. If I check my mail, some of these mails are still available. She never stopped. Even she resigned twice. When she left, they had to get her again. She broke her left, came back. It's somebody that has a vision, and we do everything positive legally to achieve whatever she wants to achieve. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. So let's move to the next person on the round. Let's see. Yes, Phebean. Yes, Phebean, you have emerged from the position of a musician scholar to an entrepreneur in Nigeria's cultural and creative industry. Yeah, could you tell us how has Ms. Akpata's story or work can inspire young women in music education, academic arts, performance, and the broader creative arts ecosystem in Nigeria? That is, how do you think Mr. Akpata's story could or can, inspire young people?
Okay, good afternoon once again. Like I said earlier, from the first question you asked me, that the word unlimited is what has been resonating with me. And it's what I actually gained from her. Now, talking about her story, from what SK had said, Mr. Akpata would walk into any office, talk to anybody. As far as there's this tiny bit of light, she would just go there and become something very big. So that mindset of being fearless, that mindset of, just dream it, wish it, you can get it. Like I said, we've always had, it's all starting from music education, learning how to play piano. I didn't get, she didn't teach me piano. But notwithstanding, it's not about she teaching you directly. You would definitely feel her aura. You feel her impact just by knowing her, just by being a student. Even those that were in basic school knew Miss Akpata so well. That's how big her impact was, and I would say is, because the impact is never going to end. It's in all of us. So for women, it's just about saying that you can do anything you want to do. It's not dependent on where you started from. It's not dependent on what you think you are. It's about what you think you can be. And as far as you can think it, you can achieve it. So that's one thing I can take from her, from the Girls Rule band. Right now I have my own band. I have my studio. What I'm doing right now is not really music education, but the truth is it started from music education. And I'm so grateful for that.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. So for everyone around, you can hear that there is nothing you cannot achieve. And that's the background to that story. So from that story, I think many of us can fly, and many people have been flying already. Yeah, but that's another conversation. So let's move to Fatima. So Fatima, Ms. Akpata was influential in getting MTN to sponsor the MUSON Diploma program. That's a common knowledge, number one. Also, the MUSON Diploma represents Nigeria in China twice. That's another common. So that's another common knowledge. There's another common knowledge that she secured that travel and all the packages that made that travel possible. My question is, what kind of policies or institutional practices can ensure that more women like Ms. Akpata rise to positions of influence in music education and cultural institutions in Nigeria?
Thank you for bringing that again to fore and for reminding us of all of our wonderful contributions. Yes, so like we already know, she did all of these solely because she could. Solely because she could. She had the influence, which helped a lot. Like someone had mentioned, I think Ayo, you mentioned that her being African American, but I don't think that was all it was about. She just had that desire. She just had that passion for excellence. She just had that desire to make things happen. And she always goes for it. She goes for whatever she wants to achieve. She sees an opportunity, she's going in for it. She's not thinking it twice. She's not thinking it. She's not, holding roundtable conferences about it. With the China trip, she achieved that just with her husband. No God asking for, meetings and roundtables and all of that. She sees an opportunity, she goes for it, and she achieves results from all of that. So things like that, it's quite encouraging to see. And if women are, well, not just women, if anyone is able to emulate some of those legacies that she left behind, it would greatly change things around for our country, Nigeria. It will greatly, impact even the generation that is up and coming. Um, that's what I think we should aspire to do. How can we then, you know, continue some of those things that she started? I know at some point there was a huge gap after she retired. She was still shuttling between the United States and America. I mean, between United States and Nigeria. And so there was probably a gap. She had to cater for her husband who was ill for a long time. And you would think that some of those things she did would stop, but it didn't, because behind the scene, she was still making contact, she was still calling, she was still sending emails. She would write to us and say, I want to know how everyone is doing. I want to know, can I have everyone's email? I want to check on them. And so she just did so much, so that if we can, as a body, like as the alumni body, as an alumni body, the alumni president is here. I hope he's still here. He can hear this. There's so much that we can achieve that would contribute to music education and to our nation's growth overall. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Fatima. I agree with you. In fact, I need to share this with everyone very, very briefly. Like what Fatima said, that Mama Akpata was reaching out. Do you know that Mama Akpata actually came to University of Cape Town with her husband to visit Lanre Konoji, Bola Ola, Susie May? Yeah, she just turned up one summer and she said she's around and she wants to see us. She came to our school in South Africa, in Cape Town, and she called a meeting for us to meet. And yeah, so that's exactly who she was. And I hope all of us can keep on that tradition. I was surprised to see that, though. I wasn't expecting it. She just turned up one day and said, okay, I'm around, guys, let's meet. Wow. So let's move to the next person. Mr. Ajayi, this for you. You wrote and recently published a beautiful tribute, about Mr. Akpata. I would like to quote a few lines from your tribute. Now I quote: Ms. Akpata's passion extended beyond the conventional institutional frameworks. She had a strong conviction and believed that every child, regardless of their social status, deserves access to quality music education, end quote. My question to you, sir, is what does Ms. Akpata's story tell us about the interconnection between leadership in music, people's empowerment, and cultural development in Nigeria?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ayo. So basically, we've been talking about Mrs. Akpata's charisma, selflessness, humanity, and then these are the qualities of leadership. And then because Mrs. Akpata is purpose-driven, she's goal-driven, it was easy for her to reach out, to reach to even to reach out to the most deprived people. There are a lot of stories about Mrs. Akpata picking up children from the streets and then empowering them with music knowledge. There are a lot of stories about Mrs. Akpata doing all sorts of things to just make sure that the society is better. So basically for me, to answer your question, you see, there is a lot to unpack in Mrs. Akpata's life and legacy. This is a woman that really wants to give back. And, you know, it seemed like she started in a very little way. First of all, she's an American who believes in Nigeria and who believes that leadership in Nigeria needs to change. How do we change it? Music can be a tool for the change. So that is Mrs. Akpata. And then she always says it to us. She always says it to us that I'm building this set of leaders so that you can take up the leadership position and turn things around. And that's a word, and turn things around. So she was doing a lot. She was picking up people from the streets, giving them good quality education. Wherever she sees any people gather, I remember the first school concerts that we did, and then she came. Her speech was very inspiring. She wanted us to go into schools and deliver music education to the children so that they could learn music and the power in music to change the society. So about cultural studies, yes, Mrs. Akpata has this very broad view of music, and then she always says to us how music can actually reach out to people, to societies, to communities, not minding the language barriers. So in terms of cultural studies, Ms. Zapata's impact actually has helped and it has helped to broaden our scope. It has helped to broaden our scope. A lot of people that passed through MUSON, although we didn't do so much of African this, African that, and MUSON. You know, we did African studies definitely, but a lot of my colleagues and a lot of our colleagues are right now doing their PhD in ethnomusicology in so many other fields. You know, so the impact of Mrs. Akpata, I know that a lot of us are actually treading that path that she has illuminated, that path that she has created, and her impact is very huge. She has imbibed in us that legacy of giving back, that legacy of going into places where you have deprived people, where you have the underprivileged, and then giving them hope. You know, she has used music as a tool from when she started in Jos, like Adeniji said, from when she started in Jos. She has used music as a tool to create potential leaders for the country, whether in cultural studies, whether in ethnomusicology, whether in whatever it is, even people who are not studying music. So I think that we all should just tap into that legacy, and it's a legacy that needs to be documented because everybody needs to read about these legacies. So we all need to tap into it. We that have direct contact with her need to continue to pass on the torch. So that others can come into this light, and then we can make our society better. I don't know if I have answered the question, but that's all.
Yeah. Your response does actually. Thank you so much. Well, from what Mr. Ajayi said, also I'm tying this back to Mr. Adeniji's research and Mr. Ajayi's tribute. I think one of the ways, like Mr. Ajayi rightly explained, to keep this kind of legacy and this influence going is for us to start writing. When I mean writing, it's an ambiguous language. I mean, compose an opera, write podcasts, do documentary, do research, engage archives. There are many coverage of Mama Akpata's interviews across Nigerian, dailies for the time she was she was director of MUSON. Let's go back to those material and do something. This is one of the biggest ways for us to keep that voice. I can hear the voice already. I enter out and she told me, "Oh, I heard you are playing this." And I said, "Yes. I hope you are practicing. I hope all those kind of things." So I get those voices. I hope you are practicing. I hope, how was it tonight? Or when you ask her, "How was your night?" She will tell you, "I don't have any night." I'm sure many of you will have done. She will have said that to many of you. She will tell you, "I don't even have any night." So let's do write-up. Writing is key. And like one of us wrote, I think Dr. Alaba, I saw that response somewhere that Mama Akpata belongs to a huge discourse around the ongoing discourse around Black women, our global African discourse. So for those who want to do research, that's a unique entry point, using her as a case into those conversations. These are ways we can propagate and retain and sustain and that legacy. Thanks so much, Mr. Ajayi. So let's go for the last round. Please, this one, let's make it quickly so we can allow people to join us. The last round now, please. So I'm going back to Mr. Dayo Adeniji. This is the last one for you. How would you describe Mr. Akpata's vision for music education? Of course, we've been saying this. And do you think this vision, I think the most important one is, yes, do you think our vision remains relevant today or beyond today? That's the question.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you, Dr. Ayo. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Ayo. Yes, the answer is simply yes. And I will just summarize the reason why. For a person to have a big dream and they have a plan to actualize the dream and the way to execute that dream, and having that plan at the beginning of the dream to give back to the society, and that is a very good, complete life cycle. So it's relevant even beyond music education or music aspect in that perspective. So it's a kind of life cycle that every human being should be aspired to have. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much. That was very brief. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Kenny Oretimehin, your last question here. Excuse me. Mr. Akpata was equally a brilliant music educator, performer, and piano pedagogue, of course. The question is, how was she able to manage a balance, perhaps this will be for everybody, between artistic excellence, academic brilliance, and effective administrative rigor at MUSON? That's something we need to talk about also. What do you think?
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I enjoyed this conversation too. And I want to say that, the woman, I think she was meant for this. Because a lot of people have been talking there and there since she asked. Like, some people are born for this, people are made for this. Some of us teach in other schools, in other little corners. The students don't understand whatever we are teaching. And we try our best to imbibe. We are not just teachers. That's the person I've always told people. Just find your own niche. The woman had a very good support, her husband. Her husband brought Kofi Annan to that school. Her husband brought dance, So some people don't have that kind of support at the start. She has a lot of things planned for her. And she used it well. She understand. So when it comes to education, she studies education. She's been teaching in Maryland according to her. In New York, before she met her husband or whatever. And when she met her husband, she been teaching all her life. I've met some of her students, over 10 or 20 of her students. She's been teaching some of us never taught for performance. And then when it comes to administration, I don't know, maybe her background, and then she became headmistress in some other schools and head teacher or whatever they call it these days. Some of us were never head of anything, nothing. So I'm not saying that we cannot do that, but I've seen so many words like timeless, like speechless, like undescribable. That's who she is. We can only try to emulate her. You get what I mean? We can only try. Her husband is key. Her husband doesn't joke with her. Her husband comes to MUSON to pick her. If your husband calls her the first time and she's still teaching, second time, the third time, the husband is at the gate. I've come to pick you. Oretimehin, I've come to pick my wife. She's still my wife. She speaks places by 4 days after 6. Her husband is always with her, supportive. Since I've known her, that's what I know about them. So she has a good, when you're comfortable, family first. The husband follows her, supports her, anything she wants to do. You get, and I know all of us we are witnesses to the level of what her husband has achieved with her. The support is massive. So whatever she wants to achieve is easy. You just want to call. I mean, in my presence, the husband was calling the basket, calling down to my. In our presence, all of us witnessed it. It's not sensationalism now. It's not the way to talk to everybody. It's comfortable and confident. Husband, I know that's my cousin, that's my mate. I can call somebody, I can call somebody, I can call somebody. And then I think she was born for.
Okay. I think the network, Mr. Oretimehin.
She in her favor. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful one. What I can see or I heard from you is support system. Of course, this, I agree with you. This also manifests in different guys across places, personality. Yeah. But like, again, what you are saying is also that she was able to balance all this quality, artistic proficiency, academic power, and administrative power. Also because perhaps upbringing or things. But again, there are interesting things we need to also unpack here. This I'm going to leave for every one of us who is going to do one or two things following this conversation around Miss Marion Akpata. Thank you so much. Let's move to Phebean. Okay, for the last question, Phebean, what support system do you think? Oh, this actually speaks to the Mr. Oretimehin's work. What support system? What support system do you think we need to? Do you think needs to be in place today for young women to follow in Marion Akpata's footsteps and legacy?
Okay. I think first of all, one needs a tribe. What I mean by a tribe is you can't do everything by yourself, first of all. And having a tribe is like having like-minded people. Doesn't have to be in your line of business, but people who are resilient, people who have the goals in mind, and people who can actually help in ways that you can't imagine. Like what Oretimehin said, her husband was a very strong support. But I believe beyond the support the husband gave her, she has a goal, and she also has studied the Nigerian scene. For example, I mean, we all know that things in Nigeria sometimes can be slower because of um, Nigerians anyway. So for the fact that she had that goal, she's like resilient. This is what I'm going to get, and that's what I'm going to get. I could remember when we went to China and we needed funds. I don't know the religion Ms. Akpata practices, yeah, but she got the trust of Dr. Olukoya. And MFM as a church can be quite discriminatory if you're not really part of them somehow. And for the fact she could walk into that office and said, "This is what we need, that is what we are going to get." And she got it. I think she got it twice.
Wow.
Shows that the vision was clear. That's one thing I really appreciate about her. Her religious views, I really don't know, but our humanitarian values speaks. So you can't just hold that to say, "Oh, she's doing this because she's this church or she's this religion or she's this tribe." Coming from an American, I mean, we understand when a foreigner comes to Nigeria, you need to understand, first study the people, you first study how things are done before you can even get to know. So I believe that she had her own wars, she had her own obstacles, but the fact that she had that goal, she had that resilience, she had that hope that, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I feel some of us, our own wars are not trying to understand Nigerians, our own wars are not trying to raise funds or something. It could be another thing. So I simply believe that having a tribe, her husband's tribe also became a tribe. She had people, sometimes she tell you that, "Oh, I knew this person from Queen's College, I taught this person's daughter, this person was my colleague." She kept that tribe, that connection, that network. And I feel that's something everyone should emulate, something I'm working on myself. That idea of having people that you don't need to be friends per se, but having that good connection, keeping that good connection, keeping that good relationship. Like, you know what, be nice people be nice to you. But notwithstanding, that idea of networking helps, and checking into the value system we have sometimes is based on the network we have. So I simply believe that our networking power was really good. Goes back to years when she mentions Queen's College, I mean, before many of us were born. And that helps her to get into offices, to knock at doors, to just help to achieve that goal that she had, and just trying to make sure. And the goal was not even a selfish one, it was goal for people like me and you, people like students, how can we help? How can we do this? And what Fatima had said, for the fact that she was no more the director, you can always go to her house, book an appointment, and she would gladly have you. I'd done that before. And I was a bit timid, like, okay, she's no longer director. Like I said, she never really taught me except theory of music and then diaspora music. But she didn't see it as you're not my direct student. I wouldn't reach out to you. I want to know what everybody's doing, regardless. The piano students, I envied them. They had the good fair share of her. But notwithstanding, everybody could knock at her door and she was willing to what can I do to help you? What do you do? What do you want to do? What's your choice? What's your this? What's your that? I mean, for me, I remember when I got into MUSON, it was all classical, classical, classical. And saxophone itself is not a classical instrument. So we had to adapt several pieces. She was like, you want to play jazz? Carry on. You want to play other kind of music? Carry on. That's how open-minded she was. And I feel that's really helped her. Having an open mind, networking, having a tribe, using the relationships that you didn't even expect that could work. She just had that up that, you know what? I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I will try. And I feel that's what's strong that I am holding on about her.
Wow. Thank you so much. So from here, we can see connection, relationship, interpersonal relationship is very, very important. I think I agree with you. Mama was so on top of the game when it comes to networking. Of course, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. So perhaps for all of us, it's also a lesson for us how to get things done. So relationship is key. Network is key. Where you belong at a particular time, the people we work with, and how we're able to sustain, relationship. Of course, this differs across board, but what we can see from this particular case, from Mama's case, is that she was able to hold on, to always going back to those networks in getting things done. So it's very important. Thanks so much, Phebean. Thank you so much for that. Oh, let's go to, okay, Fatima. So how, Mrs. Fatima, how do you see Mr. Akpata's work and legacy, of course, through music and the creative industry advancing, or contributing to national development in the coming years?
Thanks again, Dr. Ayo, for having me on this conversation. Although it's still quite early, my brain is foggy. I went to bed really late, and waking up to this, I really appreciate that I'm still able to do this. So to your question, I think all of this is going to start with us. It's going to start from us. We were her primary constituent. We were her point of first contact. So it should start with us. We may not have the kind of connections that both her and her husband had. Her husband was the number 2 or number 3 person in the United Nations. I personally do not have that kind of connection. She was African American. She's bold. She's confident. She's well educated. I personally don't have that, but that does not stop me and you and everyone else who she has impacted. That should not stop us from making our own contribution within our circle. That should not inhibit our work or our contribution to society. We should do our best, come together, which is what she did, even with the amount of influence and connections that they have. She was able to do all of that. So imagine the strength that we have as a big community, like the alumni, the MUSON alumni, and whoever else she impacted, coming together, just doing what we can within our small circle, and then eventually this would translate to national development. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we definitely know if it would, if we work, if we continue her legacy.
Wow. Thank you so much, Fatima. Thank you so much for that. So, I agree with you. We need to work together and also take the front seat when it comes to advancing that legacy. We are the first, we are all gathered here, and also the game or the baton has been passed to us. So it's a game that we all need to figure out and how to do that. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, let's go to Mr. Ajayi. Now, Mr. Ajayi, I'm going to quote again from your tribute now, and that's going to help us to unpack, to bring everything, drive them home. So I'm going to, and I quote you now. The seed that was sown by Marion has indeed blossomed, producing some of Nigeria's finest talent across generations. Our legacy is etched in the memories of all those who pass through or interact with her. Indeed, Miss Marion Akpata was a quintessential transformative leader and educator. End quote. My question to you, sir, why is it important to document or preserve the legacies of educators like Miss Akpata, and how should that be done?
Thank you, Dr. Ayo. So basically, you say Nigeria, I think our value changed over the years. And then in today's Nigeria, we celebrate the rich, we celebrate the politicians, we celebrate, we have no cares for people who have made impacts in the society. We have no cares for the intellectuals. We have no cares for the people who have sustained legacies, but I believe that we could be the change. And then Mrs. Akpata, for one person, is someone who really does not see the rich or the poor. She really doesn't see your status. She doesn't care. Mrs. Akpata sees the purpose. She sees the agenda, and she gets it done. She doesn't care whether you're rich or you're poor, or when you have a brilliant idea, you go to Marion. She sees the idea, she sees the agenda, she sees the purpose, and she gets it. She executes it. So for me, I would say that we need to document people like this. These are our unsung heroes. These are people that our history books should record their lives and their purpose. So how do we get it done? Yeah, well, a lot of us are doing that. I was very disturbed when I heard about her passing, because like some 2 years ago, I wanted to have like an interaction with her, but I was advised not to. So, but yesterday, on just having a chat with Fatima, I realized that Fatima has actually done a whole interview with her, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, which is, to me, that's a blessing, because I'm just waiting for Fatima to publish so I can steal from Fatima's publications and use it for whatever I need to do. So basically, and then you have answered it earlier. We need to write. We need to keep writing. We need to keep doing. When I mean doing, we need to keep focusing on our purpose, our goals, and we need to bring it home. For example, the schools, the basic education is very important. It's one of the most important things that Marion always say to us. Why do we have primary schools without music teachers? Why do you have secondary school without music teachers? Why do you have this and that going on? No music teachers, no competent people, no. Do you get it? Marion has passion for basic education. Yeah, I know that we have done so much. We are in basic education. A lot of our people are teaching in schools, of course. You can mention a lot of MUSON alumnus teaching in schools. But I think that's not enough. I think as a group, or as even purpose groups, purpose groups, smaller units. We could design some programs that are going to school, are going to the schools, and then attract the children to good quality education. I think that we need to do we need to do a lot of documentaries. Presently, some of us who are pianists from MUSON, we are planning a documentary. Of course, they have not asked me to say this out, but because we are having this session, I just have to let it out. So if you're a pianist and you're listening to my voice, please reach out. We're planning a documentary on Marion, and I encourage every other person to also do something. If yours is to write about our legacies. If yours is to perform. Yesterday I realized that I got back on the piano. I've not practiced professionally in many years. But that news of Marion just took me back to the piano, and because I remembered how many pieces Marion gave me and the techniques that she taught me to play those pieces. So so basically we need to document, and the ways we need to go about it is not it's not just one way. We need to devise different means to actually bring home our legacy. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajayi. Definitely, I appreciate the fact that I didn't know, of course, and thanks for sharing this with us, that Fatima has done a kind of documentary with Mama, and also that many people are planning many things. I'm happy about this, and I also challenge everyone who is here and also help pass the information across to many of our colleagues who are not here. Please, let's get busy doing for those who are still around, who are still alive, please go after them. Do that documentary, do that interview, write that research, do that history with them. Please, it will go a long way, not only for the MUSON legacy, but also for the Nigerian narrative. For instance, many people don't even know. Many people, I saw something here right away. Somebody wrote that I didn't know, I didn't know her, but from this I got to know about her. Please, these are the kind of people we need to intensify our narrative about who they are. We need to let the people know through documentaries, through research. Look, it's not always, when I mean writing, yours might be a documentary, yours might be a podcast, yours might just be a weekly narrative on your Facebook page. All these things, and put a kind of hashtag. We can create a collective hashtag, because when anybody wants to write, when you put the hashtag on social media, it will bring all these ideas out. So let's go and do something. Don't sit. Generally, let's be active in this area, because this is the history. If we don't do it, somebody is going to do something else and you won't like it, perhaps in the next 30, 40, 50 years. So if we document, YouTube is there. You can do a lot with YouTube and other forms. Please, let's get busy. That's what Mr. Ajayi is saying, So at this point, thanks so much for our lead participant, lead discussant, Mr. Dayo, Adeniji, Fatima, Phebean, Ajayi, and Oretimehin, of course. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. Ajayi, Fatima, Phebean, then once again. Yes, Adeniji and Oretimehin. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. So at this point, let's open for our friends and colleagues who wants to contribute something or say something. Don't forget, I need to remind us, we are celebrating Mrs. Marion Akpata. She is a legacy. She has now become a tool for us to think. She has now become a kind of history for us to, as a reference point for some great stuff. She also now become a case study. In fact, ultimately, we can call her a theory of different form to navigate current challenges, because she has done it. If she has done it, I can promise you, if you can follow her step, and like everything that have been said today, brilliance, strategies and focus, framework, you will do the same thing. And I'm happy that people are already using that framework. So in that essence, it's a celebratory mood. Let's celebrate that legacy. And so we are open. In case you want to say something, kindly unmute yourself and say what you want to say. So we have 40, let's say 40 to 45 minutes to go on this. But before that, I like to tell us that Chief Maria Asiva left because she has a practice and things to do. But again, we appreciate our concern. Maria Asiva worked with Marion Akpata to drive many things. And I hope we can document all this wonderful stuff that happened. Yeah, of course, many of us are doing that, and I'm happy. So whatever platform you have, please, let's push this narrative. Yeah, so let's go into that conversation now. Okay, we have Dr. Adelu Abe. Please, you are welcome, sir.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, I may not be able to join full conversation from what you've been discussing. Nonetheless, I'm not of the MUSON, movement. Nonetheless, I was in Ibadan for long years, some years back, teaching at the International School, University of Ibadan. And I presented students for MUSON exam. So that made me, and at one point or the other, I was at MUSON Center for refreshers course, workshop for music teachers and all that. And that was when I met Mrs. Marion Akpata. And sincerely, hearing the name, one would think is Nigerian and all that, a full-blooded Nigerian, only to meet this African American. And I was like, wow, okay. Now, the school I taught had a very good music legacy that was led by one Mrs. Inanga. One Mrs. Inanga, who was of the generation of Mrs. Akpata and Mrs. Shoyanwo, who was a deputy. So it was easy for me to connect with Mrs. Akpata because of where I was coming from. So she received me. I presented my case because at that time in Ibadan, International School Ibadan, then MUSON exam had been altered before I came in, shortly before I came in. As at that time, Mrs. Inanga had left, back to our country, even though Mrs. Inanga also was not a Nigerian, but married a Nigerian too, just like Ms. Akpata. So I was able to discuss with Ms. Akpata that we are bringing our center back alive. And she gave me all the support. Then one of the concerns I had then was the fact that the piano pieces for exam, I told her it was more of foreign piano pieces and all that. The next thing she told me is that your people's compositions are too difficult to play. They were too difficult to play. And by herself, she was able to, put some pieces together, simple pieces for junior level and all that. I think, was it Wikiko or something? She arranged it and put it in MUSON piano, pieces. And I gave kudos to her. So meeting her as at that time was meeting someone, of course, that I was not close to. But she received me. Her office was open, and I could relate with her for few number of years that I was there. Then before she left, and Mrs. Shunyawo continued. At the point, I invited Mrs. Shunyawo to Ibadan for the school's music competition that I organized those years. So I want to say, the discussion, she was a great soul. She was a sage, and many of those of you who took from her, I am equally encouraging you guys to please let's have our legacies documented. Our principles, our theories, and all those things, including that of Mrs. Shonyowo as well. And probably one of these days, I want us also to have a conversation on Mrs. Nanga. Mrs. Nanga is still alive, and but she's not in Nigeria. We can also bring her. She had this book along with Mrs. Shonyowo, Music for Schools, that is used in across many schools. So these are people that have contributed to music education in Nigeria. So I'm supporting that fact that we should put things out there for not just for them, even for the legacies they left for Nigerian music education. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you for your contribution. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. On Mrs. Shonyowo, many of our friends and colleagues are doing, they are creating narrative around that. And I also promise you that very soon we are working on many things, one of which is a conversation or a series on Mrs. Shonyowo. As soon as we are ready for that, you will see very soon, I promise you, we will invite you into that project with Mrs. Shonyowo. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. So please, if you have anything to say or a kind of advancing the conversation today, kindly unmute yourself and take the mic. Thank you. So while we wait for that, I just want to quickly say something about those who have done a kind of research or write-up or documentary. Okay, is that somebody? Please just
Yeah, hi,
jump in.
Mr. Ayo.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, sir? Well done, sir. And thank you for this initiative. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. It's good. And thank you for taking the lead on celebrating um, Mrs. Mrs. Marion Akpata. The news of her death was really shocking. And when people live good lives, we're supposed to celebrate them and make sure that their legacies don't die. So thank you. Well done. All my colleagues have said everything that the panelists have said are so spot on. For me, she taught me discipline and teaching. So when people say, "Oh, you teach well, you do this, you do that," uh, we learned that from Mrs. Apata. She was meticulous because she knew that the devil was in the details. So you don't leave any stone unturned. You make sure that everything is pitch perfect. Concerts, recitals, everything was just perfect. Everything on the Mrs. Apata was just perfect. It was just perfect. So I personally run with that same spirit in my work, what I do, planning, execution. I started hosting events because she thought, oh, I had the voice and the charisma for it. And she put me on stage that I didn't think I could mount. And I also remember in 2015, when UBA was celebrating, I think, the 50th anniversary or so, she reached out to myself and Williams. Then I was still working in Alifield, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you guys, they wanted children's choir to come and sing, And then she trusted us enough to handle that project with UBA then, and we were able to do it, and she was really proud. And then with all the children's choir stuff, MUSON events, hosting of events, opportunities that she gave to me personally. Um, And like I said in my story, because I've had to share that story to people many times when we traveled to China twice, she was just, she was just a mother. And when she was going to scold us, she wasn't scolding you to leave you with a scar. She was scolding you to get you better. Discipline for her was not to, she did throw away the baby with the bathwater. Yes, that's the word. So she will forever be missed. And hopefully the legacies and the things she's taught us will remain with us. And we'll continue to start a conversation with the alumni president, because I feel that the alumni can be at the forefront of all of this. Once the house is back in order and everything is on track, we can fast track all these things. We have the people, the wherewithal, both home and abroad, to drive on all these projects. You're doing a fantastic job already, and hopefully other projects we have. Thank you so much, and may God bless the entire music and MUSON community.
Thank you so much, Mr. We call you Professor. I'll use that Professor today. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you. And of course, we are doing this because you guys supported the initiative and with your time, with your skill, yeah. So that's it. So we are all in it together. Thank you so much, for helping us to get going. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Dayo Ayeku, let's have you, sir.
Hi guys, I mean it's such a pleasure to hang out with you again. I'll probably just go straight to the point to say that I know Mrs. Akpata to be a very patient person. Why? Because I think I was one of those who really tested our tested her in many ways. Firstly, she was able to help me get into the program, in a very, very awkward way. I mean, I was on the waiting list for another person and then when the person didn't show up, so she was able to probably just slot me into the program. And she was able to dust me up, in a way that, because I know, of course, we know music, but she was able to formalize me so well that she got me into the theory program. And she was so patient with me, such that she made me get distinctions and all that in my grade 5, And from there, of course, maybe we didn't see much of what is supposed to happen in the future, but I could tell you that ma'am is very patient. She is an exemplar. She's an epitome of the music educator. Because everything now I'm into education and I know what it takes to be patient. Like you could push this woman to the core with bad results, with not doing assignments, not coming for lectures and all that. But the motherly love still kept on. I think she kept on showing that. And when I heard about her passing away, I was just we all possibly will definitely pass away, but the legacy she left behind, I think it's a big one. It's a big gap for anybody to cover. The patience factor there is just a lot, and I'm pretty sure she has made a lot of musicians out there in Nigeria, out of Nigeria, and I would be doing a bad thing if I don't come up and say one or two things about her patience and all that. And I hope that, just like we celebrate Mozart and everybody and all these great musicians and all that, we celebrate their performing wise, ethnomusicology wise, and in every type of way, such that a legacy does not die and all that. And I promise to keep up the same thing she did to me, how she dusted me up from nothing, helping people to write grade 5s and getting distinction. I promise to also do the same thing. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Dayo. Thank you. Yeah, let's have Alaba, please.
Hi everyone. Good evening. I'll try not to repeat what everyone has said. Dr. Ayorinde, thank you so much for organizing this. And thank you to the senior ancestors that all spoke today. I do want to share just two things that I already discussed also on Monday with Dr. Oladele. I think Mama and I we first bonded over what I'll call quote unquote my stubbornness. She at the time had stopped teaching percussion majors piano at MUSON. But I didn't stop bugging her. So we first bonded over that. But two things that I do want to share. One is Mama's humor. And in this case, I also have to talk about her husband. So when I got admission to Royal Northern College of Music, Manchester, and the tuition was £32,000 for a year. Where would I get that kind of money? But Mama tried. We wrote to everyone. We wrote to Remi Tinubu's foundation. We wrote to T.Y. Danjuma's foundation. I mean, name any foundation in Nigeria. We wrote to everyone. But anyway, we didn't raise anything. Um, but I learned a lot through that process, and my mom was very supportive all the way. And along the lines, during that period, a BBC reporter came to make a documentary. Most of you would have seen it, of MUSON. His name is Will Ross, and Mama asked him to interview me as well. And Mama had told this guy about my admission to RNCM. So during the interview, this gentleman asked about my admission and if I will be going and how would I be able to afford it. And during the interview, I said, I don't think I'll be going. It's 32,000 pounds a year. How would I afford it? That my father is not a politician. And this gentleman went ahead and published that my father is not a politician. So the next time I saw Baba Akpata and Mama Akpata, the first thing they said is your father now a politician? And that was something that I would always laugh about. Anytime I saw her husband and Mama herself too, she'd be like, is your dad now a politician? And the last time I saw her was 2022, I believe, that I went to visit her at her apartment in Lekki. The last thing I want to share, when I finally got the admission to come to the US, I remember I was in Mama's office, and you know how Mama can be, when she speaks with her whole being. She uses her body, her hands, everything. When she's passionate about something. And she said, the US you're going to, there's only one advice I'll give you. And I said, okay. She said, when you get there, and then she demonstrated, she said, when you get there, make sure you squeeze them. Make sure you squeeze them. And then she went on and said, make sure when you leave, they have nothing to offer you, whatever institution you go to. And looking back, I might have done that at every institution that I actually attended in the US to squeeze them that they actually have nothing to offer me by the time I left. But these are two stories I do want to share. I found humanity very, very influential. There are a lot of things that I do now that in retrospect, I'm, thinking about Mama, that perhaps I didn't even realize how much influence, she has had on me. So these are stories I want to share. I encourage and I join everyone who has been saying that, we should document our stories of, about Mama, our legacy. And, on the other hand, I'm also thinking about this woman who, quote unquote, originally were not Nigerians, Mama Shion, Mama Pata, and the Mrs. Nyanga that I just heard about today, who married Nigerian men, perhaps. I don't know about Mrs. Nyanga, but Mama Shion and Mama Pata, these are people who left their own homes and devoted so much to Nigeria. And I'm thinking, with everything that Mama has done, pushing most of us, think about the number of Muslim students outside Nigeria, and I know 99% of us wouldn't have been able to afford whatever degrees we have today. But she didn't. She encouraged us to dream, anyways, regardless of whatever obstacle or whatever. To dream regardless of not being able to afford it. And most of us are here today with degrees that we wouldn't have afford or pay 1% of the tuition. And I'm thinking, to what end, right? And I mean to what end, in terms of most of us now are based in the US, and I'm perhaps speaking to myself now, are based there, and perhaps um I, yeah, I'm just thinking out loud, like, to what end, all of this, and especially if we're not working consciously to give back home. And these are people who gave so much of their time, of their life, of the humanity to us. And now we're here, and I'm thinking, to what end? But yeah, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Alaba. Thank you so much. I saw your hand, Joshua. Definitely, I'm going to call you right now. But before that, I think what Alaba just said is very important, and many of us have a share of this. And I'm going to, I share one the other time. Let me just drop one more. So I got admission to University of Cape Town to study piano at postgraduate degree. I hardly share this story, but it's very important to share it today. So I did my recital at MUSON. I play one of Bach's most difficult piano concerto. So, of course, many of you know about it. So Mama called me after the recital, and she told me, "Hey, Ayo, so what are you now going to do about this big work you have played?" Because when I was rehearsing for the recital, of course, my missioner was the one guiding the process, but she would send me to Mama Akpata to play for her, to play for her to give feedback. Of course, she would send me to Maria also. But the moment with Mama Akpata is always a different one. Like Alaba said, you will laugh, you will be scolded, everything is joined together. And that process went on. After the recital, the second day I went to MUSON, and she told me, oh, she was, of course, when she's coming from that office, that annex. So I met her at the door, and she told me, so what are you going to do about all this big work you played? And so what is the next thing for you? And I told her, I'm expecting admissions here and there. Oh, I said, wow, that's good. Please let me know about it. So when the admission came, it happened that University of Cape Town, South African College of Music, gave me admission for postgraduate. No, I think it's masters. Yeah, we call it postgraduate honors. It's just a step before masters, actually. Yeah. So for honors, so when I went back to her, she shouted, "Wow, how did you manage to get that?" And I said, "But you said we should keep practicing." She said, "Whoa, I'm so happy for you. Okay, so what's the next thing?" So I told her, he said, "Okay, do you know what? I have an advice for you." And do you know what the advice was? Mama told me that, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Okay, yeah, can I?" She's, "Go to that place. You know how many miles, millions you've spent to go and study this piano in South Africa?" I said, "Yes." So my advice is that make sure you diversify. That was the word. Diversify. He said, "Do you know what? MUSON cannot take everybody for performance. And even if you go, MUSON won't be able to afford paying you. So I'm sure you have a family, you have everything. Make sure you diversify. So even if you come back to Nigeria, also anywhere in Africa, anywhere in the world, you can get something for yourself to give your family a good life." That's what she said. So the last one, I went to the embassy, and South African embassy was so interesting at the time. Sinari Daranijo Street. I struggled to get the visa. It was so difficult for me. And one day, out of my frustration from the embassy, every day you need to go there from 5 a.m. to get, of course, the letter, everything for South Africa, even scholarship was there, but the embassy was not opening to us. So one day, out of my frustration, in fact, it was the last moment, I just from Sinari Daranijo at Ajayi Adogun, I went directly to MUSON. Again, I met her at the door. She was coming out of the annex, and she told me, "Oh, how? You look so disturbed. What happened? Come to my office." And I followed her, and I told her all the stories of the embassy, the frustration. And she said, "What? Do you know what? I think I have the phone number of the consular." Look, that was the end. Mama gave me the number of the consular. In my presence, my mama called the person. I think the phone was ringing, the person was not picking. Later in the evening, the person called back. Do you know what? Mama opened the door that night. The second day I went, they asked for me, "Who is Ayorinde?" I entered. Sorry, that was the last story. That was the end. I got into college. So this is my own part of my own story. There's a lot. We can't exhaust those important information, privilege with Mama Akpata. So Joshua David, please.
Hello everyone. Hi, Dr. Ayo.
Hi, hello, sir.
I don't know. People, everything that I've heard since I've joined is, a lot of people are talking about or have spoken about her professional sort of approach to things and how Mama Akpata has changed the life of people, at that professional level. But my sort of encounter with Mama Akpata is slightly different from that. Mama Akpata was not to me, the director of the School of Music. She was quote unquote how do I put it? She was mommy. And I'll say it this way. In 2007, after I had finally jettisoned my pursuit of studying law at the University of Lagos, and then I'd finally come out of a very strong battle with my dad, Fatima and maybe Joseph Okwaramanike would know the details of these things. And we had that tussle. So in 2008, I started, basic school, all of that. Just at the time I got into MUSON Diploma, my dad said he wanted to hold one person responsible in MUSON for my success or failure. And so one day he came to MUSON, and then we walked into Mama Akpata's office, and my dad said to her that if this boy fails in this music thing he says he wants to do, you are the one I'm going to hold responsible. You see, that line was like a cloud over my head. Not because I didn't think that I had the potential to do all that I could, but because I was now somebody was sort of directly responsible for me in that environment. I mean, I wasn't a piano major, but the extent to which Mama Akpata then, it became almost like her life project to see that I succeeded. That's my entry point to looking at her. It's been difficult for me this past couple of days to sort of grapple with the fact that she's not there anymore. Like I can't go to Nigeria now and as I would do back then, just call her and say I'm coming to her house and it was okay. It's been difficult for me to grapple with that fact. But at a personal level, at the point where it moves beyond, she has this goal for music education and things like that, it continues to resonate again and again and again and again. I'm trying to I mean, it's a public space, so I'm trying to be as professional as possible. But the kinds of stories that I have to share about Mama Akpata they're so personal. In the MUSON days, particularly my second year in MUSON, were some of the most difficult times in my life. And that woman, Mama Akpata, was one person who I had to move my recital twice, for several reasons. Mama Akpata made sure that regardless of having to move my second year recital twice, she made sure that nothing stopped me from doing and becoming the best I could become in that program. Now, on the other hand, with time, things started getting better and all of that. And then I went to University of Lagos, and then I came back to MUSON for my youth service. Fast forward to 2017, I was working with her directly. And then one afternoon, I was talking to her about some of my plans and some of the things that I had brewing in my mind. They were just little seeds then. I had no idea what, the academia was like. All I just knew was I wanted something more. And then she looked at me and she said, "You're going to teach form and analysis in the coming term." I'm like, I don't understand that. She told me, And then we went together the next day. She had an appointment and then she had to go home. I went with her home. She went into a library and she brought out her own notebook from her professors teaching form and analysis of tonal music, and the textbooks that she used. And those textbooks and those books became the foundation for which I started teaching form and analysis and then theory of music and all the other things that happened after, teaching in MUSON for the number of years I did before I left. When I started conducting in MUSON also, Mama Akpata called me one day and she said, Joshua, you need to leave this country very soon. And one of the things she started doing was, this woman wrote a proposal to MUSON to send me abroad to learn conducting, and then in some sort of a contract such that MUSON, pays for, a 3-year, 4-year, whatever. And then she would say, don't worry about it. I know you might have to come back to Nigeria, but when you come back, if you're able to learn all of these things, you're doing so well. In all of that, for me, it was beyond professional. It's like that's why I said it hinges on a statement from my dad that this guy, if this boy fails, I will hold you. And she practically did that thing, holding me from day one till, eventually I finally left. In 2018, when I was going to do some enchanted evening, I went to invite her and all of that. And you could practically see how much she was proud of the seed that had become whatever it was at the time. It's not. I have several professional stories to talk about, but just to point out again that there is something deeply personal, something deeply I don't know, maybe spiritual is the word, about somebody who is able to see beyond just oh, this person has a talent, but is able to bring something from a raw state to a refined state. That for me is sort of the most important quality, the most important aspect of my life, my contact with Miss Akpata. And like I wrote in my tribute, I don't know what it is. I was just writing a way that after is to say that for many of us, Miss Akpata is not just our director. She's or our former director. Miss Akpata is she's like the sculptor of many decisions that we took in our lives. She practically sculpted the ideas we had in our heads with us to bringing them into fruition. It's the intensity of the authenticity that she carries, as a person that has become this huge thing that we call her legacy. So I can already feel my voice breaking. I don't want to embarrass myself outside. But this is deeply personal, and I know many times we might, it looks to us as if her seat, that director's, for many years that office felt like, okay, I think I'm going to stop now. Every time we go past that office, it's Miss Akpata's office. That is Miss Akpata's office. It's not the director of the School of Music's office. No, it's Mama Akpata's office. It's the place where dreams become realities. It's the place where seeds become trees and trees become forests. And I think I'll leave us with that. And again, Alaba asked rightly, what's the point? We're all over the place. If we can't replicate that, I mean, all right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Joshua. I agree with you. It doesn't make sense if one way or the other you have passed through that kind of person and you finally have everything and you can't do the same. Sorry, it doesn't make sense too much. I agree with you. So it's a challenge also for us. We are celebrating Mama Akpata, but it's also a challenge. It's pointing us back. It's the baton is now pointing to us. That's what Mr. Joshua is saying right now. So Mr. Taye Magbagbe, MOG.
Hey, hi everyone. Yeah, Dr. Ayo.
Thank you
So
so much.
quickly, you know, that part where at one point in MUSON, Akpata had, or my teacher had issues with Marion Akpata. That's Thomas Carnett. And, you know, I was in between all of these things because, yeah, at one point, I wanted to take the usuals, ABRSM, grade 8, grade 7, you know, you have to do practical theory. So I wanted to take my practical. Double bass was what I learned when I started in MUSON. And Canis was like, no, you can't do grade 7. Just go and do grade 5, you know. So I asked for grade 5. And the result came out. I had distinction. Akpata saw that result. She called me to her office. She was like, why did you do grade 5? If you could get distinction in grade 5, that means you can pass grade 7. Even if it's a pass, I'll be fine with it. So that was in my second semester, year 1. We got into year 2. Yeah, so I was before I met Akpata, I was like, yeah, maybe she will let me pass with grade 5, you know, since it's distinction. As you know, I was deceiving myself, you know. And fast forward, somehow I had to register for the grade 7 because she was like, you're not going to graduate. I'm telling you. Eventually, we did graduation ceremony. I was on the podium, but I didn't get my certificate because Akpata was like, you must do it. But however, I did it before then, you know, but the result wasn't out. When the result came out, it was after we had graduated. So I got to MUSON this day, and everybody was like, Marion Akpata has been looking for you. What did you do? What did you do? Mama is looking for you. I got to her office. She was like, yeah, I saw your results. So you passed. Congratulations. Now you are a graduate. She gave me my certificate. And I was there laughing. You know, somehow, Alaba walked in. Alaba didn't know what was going on. So she said, hey, Alaba, come and tell him, how did you get into school in America? Tell him. Maybe at that point, Alaba felt somehow like, we're supposed to tell everybody my secret, you know. But yeah, so Alaba left. She wasn't like, yeah, you should start teaching in basic school now. She gave me several books. She told Mama Chinelo to draft, yeah, my appointment letter and all of those. But in all, you know that part where there was this piano student who was Mama Chinyelo's student and was always skipping classes and had issues and all that. Akpata asked her, and she was always pushing the blame on Mama Shonyo. Akpata didn't say anything. You know, she would go behind, tell Mama Shonyo something else, tell Mama Akpata something else. One day, Akpata made sure that she invited Shonyo to her office and called the guy. When the guy got there, Akpata was like, oh yeah, say that thing again, you know. So, you know, that part where that taught me, yeah, humanity. And if you look at it very well these days, you find out that some of us were fond of that. Maybe somebody says something about your colleague, and instead of, you know, clearing the hair and making sure you kill those backstories and let it end there, we keep supporting and encouraging all of those stuff. Yeah. So back to when Joshua David said we should keep the legacy and keep, you know, making sure that some of these things we picked from Akpata shouldn't just die with us, as in keep replicating the same thing, you know. And you know that part where I don't see a community that is going to grow beyond whatever level it is now that will not exhibit some of these traits. Like when it comes to collaborative efforts, you know, collaborations, you don't look at it from the angle of I am better than the other person or the other person is better than myself. Just collaborate, keep that legacy. I mean, Fela's legacy was kept in people, not just in books. Not just in books. It was kept in people from his children, then metamorphosed to, yeah, not Fela student who plays Afrobeat now. Even we have several bands from all over the world who plays Afrobeat now. So if we, people who are actually MUSON alumni, start this thing, and before you know it, I'm telling you, people will start replicating the same thing. Yeah, it will go beyond the walls of MUSON. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Emoji. Thank you. Of course, beyond writing, writing is good, like we said. Do the documentary, do the stuff, do the show, do the production in our honor to advance our legacy. But also, there's another part of which is about humanity, like what everybody has said, is the relationship, interpersonal relationship, being human, every one of us, we, one way or the other, we got that share of emotion of our humanity in one way or the other. I've told you my mind. There are lots that I said earlier. Mama Akpata came to University of Cape Town to meet Bola, Lanre Konoji, Susie May, and Kolawole Gbelahan. I would never forget that. I would never, never, never forget that. We weren't expecting it. Yeah. So that is who she, that's our nature. That was our nature and who she was, So please, let's also advance this kind of relationship among ourselves. The reality is that one of the ways, like we have said, we can help or keep that legacy is to also behave the same way to people, not just MUSON alumni. Everywhere we go, we are that pointer, to that legacy. And I hope we'll do that. And and I'm sure you will do it. Yeah. So can we have a few more, 2, 3, then we close for the day and we talk about the next level. Please, you can unmute yourself and, in case you have something to say. Yeah, just unmute yourself and, say.
Okay, good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Ayo, can you hear me, sir? Can we all hear me?
I can hear you clearly, please. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Abraham, and I have been reading, I'm one of the alumni, and I've been reading messages since on, I think, on Sunday or so from the alumni group, and sincerely, everything that people have said, I really wish that I met her or I had encounter with her. I only had little encounter with our assistant, I think Shoyon was. So what I just want to say is, many of us have done exploits. The way she carried us along till we became established in our field, many of us have traveled out, are doing well. I just want to plead that the alumni group, those of us that have benefited, let's here to, find a way. Let's make ourselves accessible. Some of us want to reach out to some of us, but, we seem to be very inaccessible, especially those of us abroad. You want to ask some questions, you want to get some information about your career path and all that. Some of us had vague, our purpose, our pursuit was not so clear, but you had somebody that guided you, and then before you became more clarity. So I just want to plead that let's pass this legacy. Let's be accessible. It's not like we're going to be bugging you or coming to ask unnecessary questions, but I just want to plead that let's be accessible. Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. Joshua, I want to assess you. Yeah, thank you. So that's what I want to just say.
Okay, thanks so much, Mr. Abraham. Well, I think, let me put it this way. People are actually accessible. I mean, yeah, people are actually accessible. Many of us, many people who studied abroad, or those who are currently outside of Nigeria, I've seen people posting opportunities on that same group, posting for free seminar, free session on how to get admission. Yes, I think of course, I've seen Sheyi Ajibade in that light. I've seen other people also doing the same. So, well, I don't know to a deeper extent to what you're referring to as accessible. And also, we also need to note that people abroad, like we think, they are not playing abroad, particularly those studying. They are doing a lot of work. I wish you will understand, but of course, If you are dreaming to go there, you will get there, and you will now understand why some of them will not even be able to open their WhatsApp for 2 days. Please, they are working so hard. They are working everything out. Yeah, it is so difficult to do, not difficult in negative sense. It is difficult in positive sense to do graduate studies abroad. So please be patient with them. They really want to talk to you, but I can assure you the assignment alone won't allow any of them to even near WhatsApp for the next 2-3 days. So I'm saying this to you because you know why I'm saying this, of course. Yeah. So they're accessible. Also, maybe the last point, when make your advances clear and known, they will definitely send a response. Yeah. Yeah, this is not in defense, of course, but just to make it clear, because many people don't understand in our client, when people elsewhere or across the bridge, across the ocean are not responding to message, they don't understand. Yeah, people are working. They are working everything out. Yeah, particularly those doing graduate studies. Yes, so let me not let me not scare you, but it's for the negative, it's for the positive anyway. Yeah, they are busy for the positive, and that's why you can see them getting this award, getting this scholarship, getting that. Look, it is difficult to compete out there. So I just wanted to know so that if they're not responding, be patient with them. Yeah, thank you so much. So can we have one more two to go?
Hello, Dr. Ayo. This is Grant here, sir.
Wow, Mr. Grant, how are you, sir?
Thank you, sir. Fine, thank
Mr. Grant, how are you?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for providing this platform in order for us to
Grant, how are
share.
you?
Thank you very much, Mr. Babs. Thank you so much, sir. I'm doing well, sir. Thank God. I
Great.
just want to share a couple of things, which I was speaking with Uchi this morning, and we were also sharing some of the things, how we feel about her passing of Mama Akpata. We call her Mama Akpata because she was a mother, despite the fact that she was the director of the school, but, you know, her office was like the core. That's where the things happen at MUSON, our office. If you go to MUSON and you don't go to that office, I don't see you having a fulfilled day that day. And if you the times I spent there as a student and as overseeing as serving as president under my set, it was very, very fulfilling for me because she encouraged me a lot of things that were not going right in terms of making use of the rooms, all the fighting she had with the MUSON board for students. She fought for us. She fought for us. You know, most of the times when I'll go and meet her and say, "Oh, ma, are we having any master class today?" She said, "No, I don't think, but there's no one coming for master class." I said, "Okay, please, can I arrange for someone to come in for master class?" She said, "Okay, you can do that, but you have to know, Grant, you have to know that we don't have money to pay. We don't have money, the because the caliber of people we were having for our master classes were Cobams, T-Mac, all the top musicians who we will learn from. Even the other time when, thank God Fatima is here. Fatima and Titus, we all went to Pastor Oladele sing. When I told Mr. Akpata that, look, and we want to get some of the experience musicians to come into masterclass. She complained, the MUSON doesn't have money to pay these people. I said, don't worry, man. I said, we will see how it goes. And, and she was so concerned. She was one of the most loving. I can tell you, because I got a job at Green Spring School as a teacher there, I was serving there as head of music, where, thank God, I was able to bring in Mr. Oretimehin to work along with me as well to build the music department there. Because of that, Ms. Akpata had to postpone my recitals a couple of times because I was fully involved with the work there. And when we're on vacation, that was the time she said, okay, well, are you ready for your recitals? I say, yes, man. Then I came in and did my recitals. She's just special. She's just someone special. And what I just want to leave here is, I know a lot of people have said a lot about her, how loving, how caring she is, or she was. But what I want to leave with us as alumni is this. We know so much about Ms. Zapata, and it is right. It is our place for us, even if we can put together a book. Let's get somebody who can write a book about Mrs. Zapata, and let's present it to the MUSON, to the society in Nigeria, and let's say that, yes, this is what the alumni actually put together in honor of Mrs. Akpata. This will go a long way for us. It will, even those who will contribute to some of the informations that will be in that book, if as let it be that it's coming from us, because she deserves this from us as musicians. She has changed our lives. She's changed the lives of many generations. You know, and even you could believe that even during our graduation, when I was to give my speech, she said, "Grant, this speech is too long. 4 pages." I said, "No, is the 4 pages you're saying is about 5 minutes, man." She said, "No, you have to cut it down." But afterwards, in my speech, I was pleading that the number of students, we are just 25. If MTN can make it to 30 or 35, you couldn't believe that she took that up to MTN, and then the following year they had about 30 or 35 students. She recognizes things to detail. And we thank God for the life she's lived. We bless her. May God bless her exceedingly. May her soul rest.
I think we lost Mr. Grant.
Okay. You mind if I take a moment to just share, or did you want to respond to the last speaker?
Oh, for the last speaker, yes, I think I agree with everything Mr. Grant said. Of course, we have multiple layers, of this kind of experiences with Mama, and I appreciate everyone coming out to share this today. Definitely, yeah. Thank you so much. And on the book issue, well, that is possible, and I think people have been doing that. Like, perhaps I don't know if you were around where Mr. Adeniji told us about his research. He did that actually 2007, and he did an extensive interview with Mama in 2007, and also many people have done a lot, of course. So it is easy for us to do that now, because also I got to know that Fatima has done a kind of set of interviews. So we have resources to do a book project, in fact, documentary, and different forms of digital representation or oral digital storytelling about Mama Akpata. So I think we have enough resources to do that. We just need to now organize ourselves to put those things together. So everyone, of course, life sometimes is like variations, like we all know. But what's important today for us is to celebrate Mrs. Marion Akpata. And like all of us have explained in different guides how ways in which she, touched, or people's life. Definitely, the memory, first of all, lives through us. Then the other one is the legacy through our own act. But somebody mentioned something that the association, then the school itself, these are all part of our legacy that all of us are responsible to make sure these initiatives succeed and thrive. So perhaps, like I said from the beginning of this conversation, this is more like homecoming for all of us. So it is not just about a conversation about a tribute. It's also, like I said, twofold. The first one is how can we now, how will I put it now, reconceptualize Mama Akpata as a space, as a concept, as a phenomenon, as a philosophy, to start challenging, not to challenge per se, or to say as a case for people to see that everything is possible if they really care to do it. The second one is, now, how do we keep this legacy on? We've said a lot, and I'm so happy that many people among us have taken initiatives, even as far back as almost 20 years ago, that's 18 years ago. And thanks so much to Mr. Adeniji for doing this. And we are going to build on this. The likes of Ajayi, Fatima has done a lot. So now, everybody, I think we need to go out there and find a way to advance this initiative, either directly from with MUSON or on your own or wherever you find yourself. Just think a moment. How would life behave, interact with people that I can sustain the Marion Akpata in me? That is it. But the school is also important. Then the alumni. How that is going to work out, all of us needs to find a way to discuss that and make sure everything works. Yeah, these are all part of our legacy. And for us to really pay tribute and respect to her is for us going back to those foundational steps she took and make sure those dream lives, even beyond us. Yeah. So for everyone, thank you so much for today. It's been a long journey, and I'm happy that we had this homecoming for everyone. Again, I hope that all of us can meet once in a while like this and talk about Mama Akpata and everyone who has contributed to that journey with her also. This will be great. Of course, I'm going to leave this to the ESCO, or the ancestors, as we call them, to figure ways in which all of us can come together like this once, at least 3 times a year, or at most twice a year, just to have this kind of homecoming. It is so important for us also to the legacy of Mama Akpata. Please, yeah. So as we close this, I have 2 information for us, or 2 announcement to make. The first one is I dropped a link. I'm going to drop it again. It's a link created by some of us, where you can please visit the link and pay your tribute. It's a link where the tribute is really hosted for Mama Akpata. Please go to that link and play your own part. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm also going to drop another link, which is this particular video will be uploaded and made available on the Organ House Concert and Seminar Series page. So I'm dropping the link also. That's our YouTube link. That link is so important also to a project of sustainability of people like Mama Akpata. Why? Because it's a digital experiment for documentation and curatorial work to sustain legacies like that of Mama Akpata in Nigeria. So do well to follow, visit the platform, follow, and so you can get more update on what we do at the Organ House. Most importantly, we are going to have this video uploaded on that channel. So anytime you want to write anything about Mama Akpata, you can always visit this video for your reference and for information. Or you want to do documentary, you can also reach out to me. I'm always available. Reach out to me. I'll be happy to work with you. Documentary, you want to write work, you want to write this and that. Based on this, I would be happy to work with you. Or if you're in Nigeria, you are thinking of particularly you want to work in Nigeria, you want to do advanced studies, please come to Organhouse. I'll be happy to work with you. Or if you want to work on Mama Akpata or any one of these grades, please come to Organhouse. We'll be happy to work with you. So thank you so much. Again, I want to thank Mr. Dayo Adeniji, Mr. Ajayi, Mr. Oretimehin, then Tosin, Phebean, and Fatima. Thank you so much for leading this conversation. This is very, very important for us. And I'm so happy the way you engage. It really allows us or help us to advance the conversation. Like Mr. Raphael said, we can't finish everything today. This is just the opening to that process. So the conversation continues, please. Let's keep this conversation continue. And in many ways that you think we advance this legacy, let's keep it alive. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you. And thanks to everyone who made it today. I thank Chief Maria Asiva for joining us. Again, she has to excuse herself because she has another rehearsal and program for the day. So thank you. So watch out on the MUSON platform, the links and everywhere for update on other conversation, but keep the conversation going on the web, on the link, social media, to that hashtag. Yes, please, let's keep it going. Thank you so much. Bye.